Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do um, market review and also some trade ideas that, some trade opportunities that we could have taken for the last week. That was Friday. So today is Saturday, January the 6th. But as you can see here, on the watermark, it's reviewing for the Friday trading day. So that was yesterday. Um, I'll put that in the video description so there's no confusion. All right. All right. So I did went ahead and mark up a few things that I'm interested in. Right. Um, right here you can see a 4-hour fair value gap. And I have some 15-minute fair value gap here. For the long term, the 4-hour fair value gap was my long-term draw and liquidity. So that's why that is on there. Normally, I just use the 1 hour or 15-minute chart, and then I go down to the 3, 2, 1 for my entries. So first thing first, a couple of things. You might looking at my chart if you're new to the channel. I talked about this, but if you're new to the channel and this is the first video that you're seeing, I'm just going to explain a few things. So these lines that you see so this is the Asian high. Price closes there, so it's covering it up. But that's the Asian high. That's previous day's low, which was from Thursday. This is the Asian lows, right? So I implement those in my trading, and I also look at the silver bullet hours, right? Because these are time-based setup, so I like to look what price is doing, right? And then I look for I don't engage price until I'm like in the silver bullet hour, because it gives me an opportunity to see what price I've done. And then I implement the time and the time of day to for my trade. So I'm gonna show you a couple of trade ideas that could have been taken with this, using the silver bullet hours, using time and price. That's the main thing that we want to focus on: time and price. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so first we're on the 15-minute chart. When at 3, price starts to break down, and then you see price break down, went up a bit, and then dropped back down, and then went to the bottom of this fair value gap for the 4-hour, right? And then bounce it back up. So it rebalanced that area, then went up, rebalanced this fair value gap here on the 15-minute chart, bounced down back, went back into this 15-minute fair value gap, went up, and then I'm going to show you what's happening in here, and then come back down, retest it, and then closes, right? It might seem simple at first, but it's just once you do back testing and forward testing, you get a better understanding of what price is doing and what price is supposed to do after it does a certain thing, right? So here you could see price take out sell side liquidity from previous day low and the Asian lows. So once price does that, create a displacement on the 15-minute chart. This could be a trade on the 15-minute. As I said, I do my trade on the 3, 2, or 1 minute chart. So let's go into the first silver bullet, right? This is London, and London is my favorite, I should say, time to trade the silver bullet. So let's drop down to the 2-minute chart. I'm going to go over to the London here. All right. So the most important thing, I believe, is that to trade the silver bullet, you have to know the draw on liquidity. That's very important. Let me get these out of here. This might be confusing. But yes, the draw on liquidity is important to learn, to know when you trade the silver bullet, right? So in here, you can see the silver bullet. This is the 4-hour fair value gap here on the 2-minute chart that we're looking at. So we're looking for price to break lower, right? So what price did here? You could have taken a setup here, but that would have lost. That's why it's important to know where is price going, right? Where is not filled out. So when I look at that 4-hour fair value gap, I saw that that needs to be rebalanced, right, before it does anything else. So that was my long-term draw on liquidity, and price has been dropping since Monday, right? Tuesday, because I believe the market was closed on Monday. So what we did here is that we look at the 2-minute chart, and then we could see right here fair value gap. And first off, let's go back a little bit, right? So here, price breakdown went back up and broke and created displacement. This right here is a swing low. Price breaks that swing low, giving an indication that it wants to go down. So what we do, we come over here, and we draw out our fair value gap, and that will be 2-minute fair value gap. Price is going lower, so we would have put in the midpoint, and then we target a 1 to 2. Now, this is important. I do implement the silver bullet hour, right? And I love when the silver bullet lines up inside of that time frame. So for this instant, right, I wouldn't have taken this trade, just full transparency. I wouldn't have taken this trade because it's outside of when the it comes back into that range and breakdown. But this is a great example of the 2022 as well, right? Created displacement and then breaking down, and also knowing the draw on liquidity. So if the price already showed me inside of the 3 to 4 a.m. Silver bullet hour that it wants to break down and give me an opportunity to enter within that hour, then I would have taken that trade. I try to stay as disciplined as possible and not try to take trades outside of the hour. But I implement the silver bullet, and I do look at the 2022 model. I'll go check those out as well too. If you go on to, and I'll link my mentor's channel in the description. That is the Inner Circle Trader on YouTube, ICT, and that's where I learned my trader model, and I'm just sticking with this one that I learned, right? So that will be a trade idea. As I said, I personally wouldn't have taken it outside of that hour, but at the same time, we're still inside of the London kill zone. So if you trade the kill zones, then you definitely could take this setup. For me, as I said earlier, I just try to stay as disciplined and just trade inside of that. So if I miss that setup, that's fine. I know I could look into the New York 10 to 11 silver bullet, or the afternoon 2 to 3 p.m. silver bullet, right? All right, so what happens there is that price broke down this 4-hour fair value gap. price went to the bottom of that and then bounces off, right? Now, this is almost like the 2022 model, right? Price went down, take out the lows here, the previous day low, the Asian lows, and then right here, it didn't break anything right here, but you could have taken an entry right here in this fair value gap. And if also, I do believe ICT himself took a trade right here. So if you go into his channel, I believe his last video that he uploaded his execution video, live trading, he took his trade right here. So if you go back and look at that, and I believe he was on the 1 minute chart. I'm on the 2 minute chart. So if you look at that 8:30, between that 8:30 time, he did take a trade. So you can take a trade there, but it all comes down to what is your model. So if it's not your model, you can't just go and trade it, right? It wouldn't make sense. You have to know why you get into that trade. He's the mentor. He's Enigma, so he does his thing, right? But yes, he took a trade right here on the ES price breakdown, and then he took it all the way up here, right? Now, if I'm inside the 10 to 11 silver bullet hour, right, and I'm here on this, and this right here is a 15-minute fair value gap. I like to stretch it out throughout all the silver bullet hour from the morning all the way back, even if it's from Thursday, and then we pull it all the way to the last silver bullet hour of the day. For here, personally, if I'm on the 2 minute chart and I don't see setup, then you could drop down to the 1 minute chart. I like to take my entries off the 2 minute. The 1 minute, if I see something and I want to get in sync with the move, then I'll drop down and I'll take that move, right? Right here. And I'm just gonna go back for a second here. So Friday was medium and high impact news, and I'm gonna put out a video soon of how you could know when news is coming out. And ICT talks about the 8:30 news embargo that he uses. So once 8:30 comes, you can see right here, price just drop, right? Boom, take out this sell side, rebalance that 4 hour, and then bounces off. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's why he took this fair value gap right here and ride it all the way up. And that, again, 2022 model for right there. So if, for instance, I'm at the charts and I can't trade inside the silver bullet hour, then I'll take the 2022 model and get my 1 to 2 or my 1 to 1, and then I'm done for the day, right? Now let's drop down. So for the, as I said, I like to take my setup off the 2 minute chart. So in this time frame here of the 10 to 11, I didn't see anything. And usually what's most important, right, is that we have to protect our capital. That's very important. So if I already got a trade in the London kill zone and that was a winning trade, if I can go back inside of the New York morning or afternoon silver bullet hour, then I'll probably lower my risk, or I don't trade it at all, right? I just take that money, accept take that winning day, and then I'll come back tomorrow fresh and ready. But if you did want to trade this right here, price breaks down on the 15-minute, comes back here. So if I drop down to in here, you see that's the fair value gap right there. That candle's low, this candle's high, right inside there. Let me mark that out just so you can't see it. Right there. So that right there is a 2-minute fair value gap. So when price hits the 15-minute fair value gap, breaks down, then we know price is gonna go back down to rebalance this fair value gap down here on the 15-minute. We could be a seller here. So that's right there. We could be a seller. And I like to take the midpoint of that. Also, my set risk, I like to risk at least 15 ticks, then target 1 to 2. If you do one contract or two contracts, you could take a 1-to-1 and then leave one as a runner to come down here, right? So that's something, and I'm going to show how I will do that. I will trade two contract and then get a 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, or get a 1-to-2 and then move my stop to break even or better, and then target a long-term draw in liquidity, like a runner, right? So that's another trade idea you could take in right there. That right there is yep, and right before 12-2. So that is something that I would take just for, as I said, ICT silver bullet and the 2022 model, depending on the day, what I've seen, because I didn't see anything inside of here. So if I don't see an opportunity present itself here before 12 o'clock, before 11 o'clock, then no trade, right? But I already have a 15-minute fair value gap here, and price broke down, presented a fair value gap there in a 2-minute, come back, rebalance, plus an order block, which is this candle right here, order block plus a fair value gap. That's an added confluence what I've seen from backtesting and forward testing. Not saying it can't fail, but it's a strong confluence for a trade, right? Now let's move along. Now we go inside of the 2 p.m. to the 3 p.m. silver bullet. Let me fix this. Make sure everything is, there we go. Now, price comes back here, right? And also, another thing that I've seen, and I would say test this out on your own. Don't take what I'm saying as, just look for yourself. Sometimes when price is going to draw on liquidity, right, and it does like an immediate rebalance and then breaks down, look for that same fair value gap or that same place where price rebalance to be retested, right? I've seen this, but for instance, if I've taken this trade, right, and I've gotten my 1-to-2, the price comes back up here, I could be a seller again. Have I done that? No. The reason why is because I'm collecting data, right? I'm still collecting data on this. But from what I've seen is that it does respect the zone again. So you could have been a seller here again inside of the silver bullet hour in the PM session. So you could have sold here. Now, as I said, full transparency. I haven't taken that trade once price has tested the zone, broke down, and then come back up and test it again. I haven't taken a live trade with that in mind, but from back testing and forward testing, I've seen price respect it. So not that I'm trying not to lose, right? I'm trying to preserve capital. So if I have a winning trade, I'm not going to trade that again, right? So price hit that, broke down. I'm still doing more testing with this. That's why journaling, back testing, forward testing, tape reading, whatever you may call it, right? It's very important. Very, very, very important. This is how you would gain confidence in your trade and gain confidence in what you're seeing in price. I just uploaded a video where ICT talks about as a new trader, you need to pick one asset class. Pick one asset class, pick one asset, study it. How does it move? So, and mine is the E-mini S&P. Like, I've been studying this for over 2 years now, and I've seen where price has done this exact thing. Let's remove this off the chart. I've seen where price has done this exact thing. You could have taken a trade here, but back into the silver bullet hour, you could have taken a trade here, right? But guess what? Even if you didn't put a sell limit here, right? Look what price did. Price broke down, right? Created a fair value gap right there inside the silver bullet. Now, what's important is that, get this here. What's important is that knowing the draw and liquidity, and I know I sound like a broken record here because it's very important, right? Reason why you could take this is because you have this fair value gap here, price broke down, right? Inside the silver bullet, price came back up inside that fair value gap and then broke down. Now, why would you be confident in taking this trade? Again, back testing, forward testing, tape reading, whatever you call it, right? You have to do those things. Knowing the draw and liquidity. Price already went up to this 15-minute fair value gap and broke down. There's no reason for it to go back up there, right? Plus, when we have this fair value gap here, that's going to stop it from going back up here, right? So once price break down inside that silver bullet hour, we get this fair value gap there. Now you would have been a seller here, right? And I'm going to say 1 to 2, just not to be greedy. As I said, you could leave a runner and close out at 4, right? Now, when I said what price did right here, look right here, right? Look on the 15-minute. Look on the 15-minute. See what price did here? See how on the 15-minute came back, tapped into that fair value gap, bounced back up, went up here, and then broke down again. That's where price went. So when you go down into the 2-minute, you see right here where that price went back and then broke down again. And this is why ICT talks about price being fractal. Like if you could see it on the 15-minute chart, you could see it on the 3, 2, 1. That's why I like to use the 15-minute on one screen, and then I'll have the 2, 3, and 1 minute chart based on what the 15-minute is telling me. And then I'll drop down and then I'll look for a trade. If the 15 minutes is already taken out, buy side or sell side, tap into an order block, fair value gap, efficiency, something, right? I have to know what price is doing. Again, time and price. Now, that does that. Get your 1 to 2. As I said, you could bring price to your break even or better, and then you could leave a runner down here. And let's put back here 15 if we had left the runner. So what's that? That's like a 1. And sometimes I like to, and this is just me, you could put it in the midpoint, but I like to take the high of the fair value gap as my exit, because I've seen where price sometimes would, as I said right here, see how price didn't tap inside here. So for instance, if I had a my target set to the midpoint of this fair value gap, I wouldn't got tapped in. The price would have just ran back. My stop probably would have been up here, but that would be fine, right? That's why we say partial pays. That's something ICT always mention, and since I've been doing that, even if I get the direction incorrect, right? Say for instance, I get the drawn liquidity incorrect, I still could lock in a 1-to-1. If price, if I set a runner, move my stop to break even or better, and price come back and hit that, I don't feel any type of way, right? Because I locked in profit. So yeah, that's it for today. The 8:30, as I mentioned, was a news embargo. Just to go over a little bit here. Right here, price went into there, broke down inside the silver bullet. It comes back up, broke down again, create another opportunity. I could have taken been a seller right there, inside there, and broke down. So this is why, and this is how I trade, right? I interpret time and price this way. Others might do it their way, but this is just how I see it. And once you go through the mentorship, and once you go through the content, you will see a lot of things. But as my mentor always say, at the end of the day, you're gonna come down to what you see. What do you see in the charts, right? Some might see fair value gap fairly easily. Some might see OTE. Some might see the order blocks. Some might see all these different entry types better than anyone else. For me, this one is mine, right? I like using the silver bullet hour. I like using the 2022 model. But for instance, I can't see the institution order flow entry drill. Like that one, I don't know. I don't know. If somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but would this be a institutional order flow entry drill where price, is already running, and then you just be a seller and then follow price because the draw on liquidity? Full transparency. This is what this channel is all about. I don't know for sure. I just found I did study that as well. I went through the core content. I went through the 2022. I went through the silver bullet. I went through the one trade setup for life. I believe I do have a video link in the description with those video links. Also, you could find them on the ICT trading channel on his YouTube, and he put out a whole bunch of content and show you that these things work. All right. So, yep. For more, just let me know. I did get some requests for this. The next video would be showing how we would see the economic calendar and news releases for the week, and I might release that tomorrow. And again, thank you for coming to the channel. Much appreciated. Peace. Bless.